Hello, fellow residents of Tamriel. This is the Beeve once again. I wanted to upload another quick video of a different, out of the realm of what I normally do character. This is a Magicka Templar. Now, I had a little bit higher expectations for this, and it's not a bad build. It's really not. But, I've been working on it consistently, trying to figure out what exactly is going to work with this. And it's very inconsistent, to say the least. It's I can get pretty decent DPS with this, and there are a couple class abilities that make this a very formidable opponent as well. So, first off, let's go over some gear. What I want to show you first is just some overland sets that do decent with this. So I will be running Mother Sororo and Crafty Elfique. This Crafty Elfique can be found in Northern Elsewhere. It is a non-pet version of Necropotence for the most part, so doesn't provide as much maximum magicka, but it's only about 500 off at this point, so it's still a really good option. And Mother Sorrow can be found in Dasan. I am wearing 3 pieces of bloodthirsty jewelry on the Mother Sorrow, all with spell damage enchantments on it. All my other pieces have divines with magicka enchantments on them as well. I am using a Maelstrom Lightning Staff that is infused with a weapon damage enchantment on it, and a Mother Sorrow Staff that is precise with a shock damage on it. To go over the character sheet real quick, on the Maelstrom bar, 44,708 maximum magicka with a 709 recovery, 2115 spell damage, 46.6 spell critical, spell resistance 17k, physical resistance 11k. When I'm on my Mother Sorrow bar, nothing really changes other than spell critical. Spell critical goes up to 66.1. I am using the Shadow Munda Stone for increased critical damage by 19%, and I am using Disastrously Bloody Mara. This is a max magicka, max health food that also provides health recovery. So as you'll see here, my health recovery is actually my highest recovery, 846. It's not too bad health recovery, honestly, especially for a damage dealing tune. Champion points. We have 40 in Warlord, 75 Arcanist, 75 Tenacity, 72 Tumbling, 8 Shadow Ward, 51 Elfborn, 49 Elemental Expert, 30 Spell Erosion, 19 Staff Expert, 40 Master at Arms, and 81 Thaumaturge, and 72 Ironclad, 35 Spell Shield, 17 Light Armor, 49 Hardy, 49 Elemental Defender, 48 Fixed Skin. Nothing in this tree. So, skills, I have my Unstable Wall, I have Blazing Spear, I have Purifying Light, I have Channeled Focus, I have Inner Light, and I have Shooting Star. Back bar, Scalding Rune, Solar Barrage, Puncturing Sweep, Radiant Oppression, Inner Light once again, and Shooting Star once again. The Shooting Star seems to be, in my opinion, better than the other two, or the other 3 ultimate choices that the Templar has when it comes to class abilities. And I like it a little bit better than the Destro ultimate as well, because I get this initial blast of 16,000, does almost 5 6,000 a second for 13 seconds afterwards, and I get 12 ultimate back for each enemy hit with the initial blast. So in Daedra dungeons, where you're getting that the perk from your Fighters Guild, the Banish the Wicked, where for each Daedra or Undead you kill, you get 9 ultimate. If you drop this on them as well and get 12 back for, you know, each enemy hit, like trash mobs of Daedra and Undead, you can almost just call this right back out the second that it hits, honestly. So you can get this back really quick. That's one of the things that I like about it as well. To go over abilities here, just real quick, like, you have your Crushing Wall, 1345 shock damage every second, and concussed enemies off balance for 7 seconds. Blazing Spear deals a good bit of damage right off the bat, and then small amounts of damage per second for 10 seconds. And this does leave a synergy behind that somebody else can hit and restore 3960 maximum magicka or stamina, whichever is higher. Purifying Light, this doesn't do much damage on impact, or when you first call it out, 4389 magic damage, but then it copies all damage taken for 6 seconds and releases 20% of that additional magic to them, as additional magic damage to them, and the maximum copy is 26,824. This can and does crit, so this hits for a boatload. Plus it leaves behind a pool of sunlight that heals allies in the area for 2,007 health every 2 seconds for 6 seconds. Channeled Focus, this one right here is nice. This is what makes this Templar very formidable, in my opinion. You put this rune on the ground, and once you put it on the ground, you get a physical and spell resistance of 5,280, and you also recover 240 magicka every 1 second. But as long as you are standing in the rune, it increases the physical and spell resistance granted by 50%. So when I call this out, look at those resistances. 25k spell, 19k physical. With all the damage mitigation we have going on in the red tree, this makes this this toon a very hard to kill toon, and it's giving us magicka back in the process as well, which is kind of an important thing, because a lot of these abilities cost a good bit because of the new cost increase that are coming with update 24 on November 5th for console and October 21st for PC. So that's always a helpful thing, because we're going to need ways to recover, you know, you're going to have to find ways to increase your own resources. You're going to see healers running a lot more sets that are more utility based, helping give back the resources for their damage dealers. It's going to be interesting. It really is. I am making sure that every one of these builds that I'm building are heavy attack builds to help keep up magicka and stamina, and it's worked so far. This one is a little bit lower damage output than some of the other ones that I've done, but this is going to be a toon that's very much harder to kill in the process as well, especially with those spell resistances from that rune. So as long as you're keeping that rune down, you're going to be very hard to kill, and you're going to be able to put out very good amounts of damage. Alright, so the rotation itself is going to consist of light attack, unstable wall, light attack blazing spear, light attack purifying light, light attack channeled focus, bar swap, light attack solar barrage, light attack scalding rune, light attack puncturing sweep, fully charged heavy attack, and bar swap start over. Now, once we get into execute phase, we're going to ignore the puncturing sweep, and we're going to do 2 radiant oppressions, and we're going to ignore the heavy attack as well. So if it doesn't go down after the 2 radiant oppressions, we're going to just bar swap back and start our rotation over again. This Radiant Oppression deals tremendous amounts of damage. 10,419 over 1.8 seconds. Deals up to 480% more damage to enemies below 50% health. Also deals up to 20% more damage in proportion to your current Magicka. So this is a heavy damage dealing ultimate right here. Or not ultimate, but ability right here, Execute. I didn't go over the other ones, I'm sorry. Solar Barrage is 22-25 magic damage over 2 seconds for 10 seconds. Not a whole lot of damage, but what it does do is provides Empowered, increasing the damage of all your light attacks by 40%. So that's what makes this very worth it right here. Scalding Rune from the Mages Guild line, 9,239 flame damage on impact, and another 8,890 damage over 14 seconds. Not a whole lot of damage over 14 seconds. It does crit, so it doesn't do too bad. But that the initial hit from it as well is pretty damaging. It's pretty heavy. Some of the passives in this group. This is the Piercing Spear. As long as you have this Adric Spear ability slotted, you get increased critical damage by 10%. We have one on each bar, so we're getting that. That is a pretty big thing right there, especially when we are wearing the Mother Sorrow, and we're using that Shadow Mundus Stone for more damage. Critical damage is huge on this tune. Now, I do have all my light armor ticks in my passives, and the first 3 in heavy armor. I have my Mages Guild completely filled out, all the passives. Have my Undaunted passives, all my High Elf skill passives, and making sure that I have my medicinal use on my alchemy so that my potions last 47.6 seconds and cooldown on them is 45. So with this passive, 100% uptime on all potions. So, real quick like, with this Crafty and the Mother Sorrow, 2 very easy sets to get, not a whole lot of farming. Let me show you what you can do with this. Pull out my Meteor. Every other rotation we're putting this rune down. A lot of critical damage going on right there. Execute phase, so we're going to ignore the radial sweeps now and go with the Radiant Oppression. And there we go. You notice that I did have some sustain issues, even though I was giving myself back Magicka. So this is when you're in a group with somebody that is able to provide you a little bit more Magicka, whether it be with spears or bubbles or Symphony of Blades or Hollow Fang, whatever it is, Magicka wise at least, you won't have any problems sustaining at that point. You're going to be able to keep it up just fine. And damage on that right there was 42,150. So 42,000 damage on that target dummy. And when we bring up our combat metrics, first thing I'm going to point out is the light attacks did the most amount of damage than anything else that I did. My light attacks equaled out to 20% of my damage done. Light attack weaving is so important in P. Some people don't realize it. I hope this clears that up for people. Light attack damage does a ton of damage. It really does. Especially when I'm using that Solar Barrage, and it's giving me Empowered, increasing the damage of my light attacks by 40%. It really buffs it on this tune, so those light attacks do a ton of damage. Now, the Radiant Oppression, my execute ability, ended up being my third most damaging ability, and I only used it 3 times. I called it out 3 times. It hit 7 times, critted 4 of those 7 times, and equaled out to about 3k in DPS, honestly. So that ultimate is just super heavy hitting, and I love it. When you look right above that, you'll see my spell penetration is in the 12,000 range. I am still really close to about 6,000 below spell pen cap, so I could go with the Lover Stone to get a little bit more penetration, but the Lover Stone and the Shadow Stone seem to be working equally at this point, honestly. So when you're in a group with somebody that is helping apply other debuffs to the boss, whether it be a Crusher enchant, All-Kosh, or, you know, Minor Breach and Minor Fracture, you're going to see those numbers climb up into the 45 or 46k range, maybe even a little bit higher if all of them are being applied. So the damage from this this tune, just with those 2 Overland sets, is very good, more than enough DPS for any veteran trial or veteran dungeon. On the trial Atronach, I'm not going to bore you with going through it, but I can get about 67 to 68k with this tune. It's a little bit lower with this setup right here. Now, when I switch these up a little bit, we're going to go with Sororo. This is perfected Sororo as well, so only difference between it and regular Sororo is literally that second 5-piece bonus of 1,096 maximum Magicka, so it's not a whole lot of difference between the two. And we're also going to change out to Spell Strat. So we're changing things out to just basically turn this into a single target damaging monster for the most part. And let's go ahead and apply our elemental susceptibility to give it major breach, like as if a tank was hitting it in a normal dungeon or trial. And let's start this one now. This one will be a little bit harder to sustain because I got a little bit less Magicka, but I'm going to be doing a little bit more damage as well, so kind of makes up for the fact a little bit. I'm not going to get as many crits with this setup either, but all the bigger amounts of damage coming off everything else kind of makes up for it. Range, so we're going to go for Radiant Oppression now. And there's that, 46,676. It is a really good setup like that. A lot more DPS. You're doing less critical. You're getting less critical chance on your damage. Right there, I only actually critted 47% of the time, so it was about right on par with what my setup looks like at 49%. But I still did 63% damage and critical damage on the boss because of the Shadow Mundus Stone, the extra damage that extra critical damage that Templars do, and all the extra damage from everything being such a heavy single target setup. So Once again, right at I am still 8 grand below spell penetration. If you are in a group with a lot more, you're going to be pushing a lot more utility for debuffing bosses and whatnot. You're going to be pushing in the probably 50k range with that, or maybe more. Once again, light attacks was my most damaging ability, and it's not my most damaging thing that I did. Radiant Oppression came in at second. I called this out, 3 times, I think, and it did 15% of the damage done to the boss, so that's kind of crazy. A lot of damage right there. It went off 9 times. It critted 7 of those 9 times. It averaged 50k per tick, and it hit as hard as 71k. So, a lot of damage. This setup right here is very damaging. You can switch between the 2 different sets that I showed you right there, and they both work very nicely. And you can mix and match them as well. You can go spell strat with Crafty, or spell strat with Mother Sorrow, or Sororia with Mother Sorrow, or Sororia and spell strat, or Crafty and Sororia. So all of those put out similar. All of those are pretty equal to each other. The 2 Overland sets, the Crafty and the Mother Sorrow, the easiest to get by far. They do a little bit less damage, as you've seen, but it's still a very viable option. It really is. So I don't think that I have anything else that I need to go over here, guys. I appreciate everyone tuning in. If you like this, please hit that like button. That would be very nice to see. And I'll be putting some more things up here in the future. But until then, guys, thank you very much for sticking it out if you did. You're amazing if you did. And if you like what you see, definitely subscribe. And we'll try to do these as often as possible. And I am also located on Twitch at thebeeve01. And that's where I do a lot of my PlayStation streaming on there for this game as well. So if you're interested in watching me and my crew run some things, definitely hit me up on Twitch, follow me on there, and make sure you hit the button to get notifications when I go live so that you can watch them. That's all I got, guys. Thank you very much for everything you do. Appreciate it greatly, and have a good day.